evening, Warriors. Welcome back to the Grass Lake Sports Weekly Report. I'm your host, James Charles. This is episode 27 coming at you on January 11th. It's been a busy week in Warrior Country. Over the past several days, our teams have been in action battling through tough matchups, learning hard lessons, celebrating big moments, and continuing to grow together. From the gym to the mat to the lanes and beyond, Grass Lake athletes have been putting in the work and representing this community with pride, effort, and toughness. This show is about telling the full story, not just the final scores, but the journey, the grit, the resilience, and the response. Wins matter, losses teach, and every rep helps shape what these athletes are becoming. That's what we're here to highlight. In this episode, we'll look back at what happened over the last week across Grass Lake Sports, recognize performances and moments that stood out, and then we'll turn the page forward to what's coming next. We'll make sure you're caught up, locked in, and ready to support our Warriors as the season rolls on. As always, thank you to the coaches, parents, fans, and athletes who continue to support this project and help it grow. If you enjoy what we're doing here, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes baby in gold. All right, Warriors. It's episode 27. It's January 11th, and we've got a lot to cover. So, here we go. In hockey news, Jackson Zebel and his Jackson United team had 3 competitions this week. They kicked things off Wednesday night, traveling to the Toledo Ice House to take on Bedford. The Jackson United roster for that game in Toledo, and United wins with the shutout 8-0. Then the big one, Friday night at Optimus Ice Arena. Battle for the boot. Your Jackson United roster for that Friday night game against Lumen. And United wins, ending an 8-year drought, beating Lumen Christi 5-2. And the boot turns orange. They followed that up on Saturday against Farmington at Optimus Ice Arena. And here's your roster for that game on Saturday. And Jackson United wins again 9-1 over Farmington. So, according to the Michigan High School Athletic Association website, that brings the Jackson United season record to 10-6 overall, and they were on top of the Southeastern Conference White Division. So, coming up this week, the Jackson United team will be back at home again on Wednesday against Saline. That's at Optimus Ice Arena, 8 p.m. The puck drops. And then on Saturday, the 17th, they will travel to Vets Arena to take on Dexter in what I believe is a conference game for Jackson United. So, got some time to catch some hockey Wednesday and Saturday. Jackson United will be competing. Keep up the good work, boys. Looking good. I have got a ton of Warrior Hoops action for you this week. And as I had mentioned, and my intentions for this show were to include all things Warrior athletics from pre-K all the way up to our seniors. We're going to get things kicked off with our junior Warriors basketball. They got their season kicked off this week. That's our kindergartners, our first graders, and our second graders working over in the middle school gym with our varsity players. So that's a great program. They will be back in action again Friday night for the practice and then Saturday morning for their games. Way to go, Warriors. In 6th grade, boys basketball action, I got an update from Coach Brian Roberts. Brian's been working with these boys for the last few years, getting them on the court, competing, and they just wrapped up their preseason league play out in Tecumseh, where they finished with victories over Saline, Clinton, Sylvania, and Pinckney. It was a great challenge for the boys and awesome to see them compete against some bigger schools. They just wrapped up their first tournament of the year this last weekend at Columbia Central, finishing third place in the pool with victories over Jackson Northwest and Blissfield. And the boys will continue to put in hard work with several tournaments coming up this season. The sixth grade boys were at East Jackson for a tournament this weekend and ended up bringing home the championship. Way to go, Warriors. Their next tournament will be at the end of the month out at Jackson College. Our eighth grade boys were out at Michigan Center Saturday morning for a 3-game tournament. The boys played hard, played against some tough competition. Unfortunately, the scoreboard was not on our side that Saturday morning. They will regroup and have a couple weeks of practice and then get back at it out at Jackson College at the end of this month. Our boys JV team had 2 competitions this past week. They traveled to Clinton last Monday and came up short, losing 27-37. Elijah Walling had 8 points. Wesley Rule had 8 points. Evan Matthews and Gage Salts both had 5. But here are some highlights from that action. The boys were at home against the Columbia Central Golden Eagles on Wednesday, and unfortunately lost that matchup 49-60. Elijah Walling and Wesley Rule both with 15 points, and James Warburton helped with 8. Here are some highlights from that matchup against the Golden Eagles. That brings the JV boys season record to 2 wins, 6 losses. They will be back at home Monday, January 12th against Fowlerville, and then on the road Wednesday against Jonesville, and Friday night against the Michigan Center Cardinals. Our boys varsity team had 3 competitions this week. They kicked off things on Monday, traveling out to Clinton. Warriors fell behind 7-0 to open the contest and were unable to make that ground up, falling to Clinton 40-45. Braden Snyder scored 12, and Will Ford added 9. Then on Wednesday night, the Warriors were at home against Columbia Central, falling to the Golden Eagles 39-51. Braden Gilbert and Braden Schneider each scored 10 points for the Warriors. The boys then wrapped up the week at home Friday night against the Manchester Flying Dutchmen for Winterfest, and unfortunately fell to the Dutchmen 28-62. Here are some highlights from that action. So the varsity boys will have 3 games this week as well. On the 12th, which is Monday, they will be playing Fowlerville at home. Then they will be on the road Wednesday at Jonesville, and again on the road Friday night against the Michigan Center Cardinals. Still looking for that first win of the season. Let's go, boys. Our varsity girls were in action twice this week with 2 big games. One big one on Tuesday night, traveling out to Hanover Horton to take on the undefeated Hanover Horton Comets. The Warriors outscored Hanover Horton 28-11 in the second quarter, leading to a 75-37 win at Hanover. 3 players scored in double digits for Grass Lake as Adeline Jarko scored 20. Mia Vigeland finished with 19 points and 5 assists, and Elise Bullock recorded 10 points and 5 steals. The girls were then back home Friday night against the Manchester Flying Dutchman, part of a triple header for Winterfest 2026, and the girls came out on top, beating Manchester 56-15. Here are some highlights from that action. So that win brings the Lady Warriors varsity team to an overall record of 7-1, 5-0 in the conference, sitting on top of the Cascades Conference East, tied with Michigan Center, both at 5-0, which leads us to this week's action. Big game at Grass Lake High School against Columbia Central on Tuesday night, and then the big one Thursday night at home against the Cardinals for outright first place in the standings for the Cascades Conference East. So if you can get out there, support those girls, cheer those girls on, get that gym loud. In wrestling action, our varsity team had 2 competitions this week. Earlier in the week, they were at Vandercook Lake for a quad with Napoleon, Vandercook, Addison, and the Warriors. As a team, the Warriors lost to Napoleon 24-46 and lost to Addison 24-36. Brandon Rhodey and Aiden Durham each had pins against the Pirates, and Justin Rowe earned a pin against the Panthers. Then on Saturday, the team was in Napoleon for the Napoleon Invite. Bear Diedrich finished in fourth place, 165. Evan Andrews finished in fifth place, 150. Aiden Johnson finished in first place on the day. Aiden Durham also in first place. Brandon Rhodey in second place at 126. Grady Cromery in second place at 138. And Justin Rowe in fourth place. The Warriors as a team took home third place. Great job, Warrior wrestlers. Coming up this week, the Warriors have a big home meet with Michigan Center in Hanover. And then that's on Wednesday. And then on Saturday, they will be traveling to Quincy for the Quincy Invite. And then Ava will be at Northview for the girls' invite. So plenty of action, especially that one at home on Wednesday. If you've got a chance to get out there and watch some Warriors compete, I'm sure they would appreciate some support in the stands. In the Cascades Conference Youth Program, the tournament this weekend was out in Chelsea, and I know we had quite a few wrestlers head out there to compete. Adam Hall with a pin and a second place finish. O'Cromery with a pin and a first place finish. Everett Kelly with a pin and a third place finish. Gordon Thompson with 2 pins and a first place finish. Hagan Paul with a pin and a third place finish. Harrison Wilder with a fourth place finish. Hudson Kellenberger with 2 pins and a second place finish. Jack Zenz with a second place finish. Kaizen Leathid with a first place finish and 1 pin. Liam Kinsella with 2 pins and a first place finish. Marshall Johnson with a second place finish. Nolan Kaiser with a pin and a second place finish. Owen Bigford with a third place finish. Peyton Camilleri with 3 pins on the day and a first place finish. And Thad Carruthers with a pin and a third place finish. The Warriors finished in 8th place on the day with, I believe, 15 wrestlers competing. Great job to our young Warrior wrestlers. And those youth wrestlers will be back in action next Sunday. This schedule says Leslie, but it's actually going to be in Napoleon. The schedule was switched around. Napoleon and Leslie had switched dates. So they will be in Napoleon next Sunday for some more wrestling action. In bowling news, the Grass Lake Varsity Bowlers competed in the Battle of the Bakers out of M66 Bowling Alley in Battle Creek. And our girls' varsity team are the champions. So congratulations to those Lady Warriors. In other Warrior athletics news, the Warrior Club will be having their monthly meeting on Monday, January 12th at 6 p.m. at the high school office. If you're not familiar with what the Warrior Club is, they are basically their athletic booster club for Grass Lake. They would love to see some new faces. I had intentions of being there on Monday night, but unfortunately, I have a 8th grade basketball scrimmage that yeah, so I will not be able to make it to that one. Um, but like I says, they are looking for some new faces. Can always use some help. Monday night, January 12th, 6 p.m. at the high school office. In baseball, softball news, the Grass Lake Summer Youth League 2026 season registration is open. Visit glsportsweeklyreport.org to register your player today. They have T-ball, the 14U, both baseball and softball. You want to get registered as soon as you can. I believe that registration will stay open for about 5 more weeks. Um, it will then be closed and teams will be put together. Also, we will be starting open gyms on Saturday, January 17th, and continuing on for most Saturdays throughout the winter till spring break. You can always check your school announcements or the Grass Lake Summer Youth League Facebook page for specifics on that, updates on those dates and times, just to be on top of it. Open gym is a free age based drill practice held on Saturdays in the auxiliary gym at the high school. Different time slots for different age groups. As you can see by the flyer, we will get started at about 9 a.m. and run till 3 p.m. Um, like I said, just you don't have to register for this or pay for this. Just show up with your player and get some work in. I will also have the registration link for the Grass Lake Summer Youth League on the description of the show. Also, on Wednesday nights, I will be doing pitching workouts with all 12U baseball players. So that's 11 and 12-year olds, or if you're got an athlete that's 10 years old and going to be playing up in the 12U division, uh, feel free to come on out. This is open to all Grass Lake kids um, in that age group. So we will be in the auxiliary gym from 8 to 9 p.m. every Wednesday until spring break. So just if you're available, you want to get some pitching workouts in, feel free come on out to the auxiliary gym on Wednesday nights. Also, there is a softball skills clinic set for Sunday, January 5th or January 25th out at the Jackson College. It's $40 per player, and it's for eighth graders on up through college age softball players. I will have the registration for that in the description as well for you to use. So I've covered a lot of what's to come this week in Warrior action, but we'll take a look at the GrassLakeWarriors.com official Warriors athletics website. And as you can see, the featured event coming up is Grass Lake Varsity Competitive Cheer Competition Tuesday, January 13th, out at Columbia Central. Then we have our girls middle school basketball kicking things off Monday at home for their season opener against Columbia Central. The seventh grade will kick things off at about 4:30, and then the eighth grade will be immediately following. So good luck to those girls as they get their season underway. Also, the boys JV and varsity will be at home against Fowlerville. Then on Tuesday night, like I said, the competitive cheer team at Columbia Central starting at 6 o'clock. And then the girls basketball will be at home against Columbia Central. Then on Wednesday, we've got some varsity bowling at Suburban Lanes. And then the girls' middle school teams will travel to Leslie for some competition against the Blackhawks. Then our wrestling teams will also be at home for that competition at the high school that I had previously mentioned in the show. Boys high school basketball, the varsity and JV will be in Jonesville. And then Friday night, uh, boys basketball at Michigan Center High School, the varsity and the JV. I know there's other events that aren't on this schedule. I've talked about them previously throughout the show. So I do the best I can with what I got. I know everything's not on here that should be on here, but this is what we're looking at coming up this week in Warrior action. And I'm not going to lie, somehow, some way, I almost forgot. Middle school wrestling kicks off this week as well. And on Tuesday, they will travel to Vandercook Lake for their first wrestling meet of the season. So good luck to those Warrior wrestlers. All right, Warriors, that's going to wrap things up for episode 27 of the Grass Lake Sports Weekly Report. As always, the goal of this show is to highlight everything happening across Grass Lake athletics. With how busy things are right now, there's a lot to cover. If I missed a score, overlooked a performance, or made a mistake anywhere along the way, please don't hesitate to reach out. Shoot me an email, send me a message. Help me keep this report as accurate and complete as possible. This is a community project, and it's always better when we work together. Thank you to the athletes for the effort you put in every day, to the coaches for the time and commitment you give to our kids, and to the parents and fans who show up and support Grass Lake the right way. None of this happens without you. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it so more people can stay connected to what's happening all around Warrior Country. The support continues to grow, and it truly means a lot. We'll be back again next week with another full breakdown of everything happening across Grass Lake Sports. Until then, keep supporting our kids, keep packing the stands, and keep showing that Warrior pride. Until next time, God bless our kids, God bless our community, and go Warriors!